The Season 4 update saw a couple of nerfs to some of the popular close range rifles in this game, so this video is going to go over what are the 5 best options to use after the Season 4 update. Just a quick channel update. I know we've not been posting a lot recently, and that's just because we've got a lot of things going on out with the content creation side of things, so we'll get past that really quickly. So the first thing we always like to cover is the TTKs of all the close range options. Now, we're not including shotguns here, and this is all taken from the True Game Data website, which is fully updated, by the way. I'll leave a link to that in the description down below. So let's quickly go through all of this and the reason why I've added these weapons here. We went through all fully automatic close range options in this game, whether it be assault rifles or SMGs and even some pistols as well. Now, as you can see here, we've got the MCW, BP50, all the guns I've listed just right here. And the main ones we want to focus on are the best ones for close range time to kill, and that is what this is going to show us right here. So as you can see, the MCW has the fastest TTK with a specific build, which we'll get into in just a moment. The WSP Swarm comes in as a close second. The BP50 is a third. The FGX Horus, which I thought would actually be a meta choice now, is actually indeed a meta choice, which I mentioned in yesterday's videos. And then we also do have the new FENNEC-45, the Renetti pistols as well, and also the AMR9, which also got a buff. We've also got a couple of other weapons in there, but we don't really want to cover them too much. One quick thing I do want to mention before we jump into the builds is that this is chest shot TTKs at 300 HP. We do get 350 HP in certain cases on Rebirth Island and things like that when we get the specific game modes, but we're focusing on the standard health that we get in the game. Also, on top of this, I do want to quickly point out guns do drop off quite significantly after damage drop off, so that would mainly focus on guns like the WSP Swarm and the FGX Horus and the FENNEC-45 as well. These guns do drop off, but slightly further range on that one. The main one that drops off really quickly is the WSP Swarm. So going over the top 5 weapons now, and we want to focus firstly on the MCW build. This is going to be if you want an out and out SMG build for this gun. Now, it does perform better as a sniper support because it doesn't have the best movement stats, but you can give it insanely good movement stats with the build that you see on screen at the moment. So we'll quickly cover it. So you want to use the Jack Raven conversion kit, which gives you that insanely fast TTK. You cannot use the base weapon. You do want the 40 round mags, largest mags available. The DR hand slap under barrel grip. You can use the Brune Heavy if you struggle with recoil, but this gun has low recoil anyway. I do like the optics on my close range weapons. I just feel like I land way more shots having an optic on there. I don't know if it's just me or what, but that is what I do prefer. If you want, you can remove the optic, use the iron sights, and put on a different attachment elsewhere. And then this attachment here is absolutely broken right now, and it's insanely good. If it is available for your guns, then you have to use it, and that is the Jack Cutthroat stock, and this is going to give you the insanely fast strafing speeds. On this gun, it actually helps out a ton because the movement speeds are pretty slow anyway, but like I said, this gives you insane movement speeds. Next up, we've got the BP50 with its conversion kit, which is the Jack Ravager conversion kit. So you do want that on there. You also want the TAQ tape, which is going to help with sprint to fire speed. It does also help with TAQ stand spread, but I don't really use that anyway. And then we do have an optic on there once again, because you don't get a lot of attachment options with this conversion kit change. I do have the Kimura laser light on here for the extra movement speed bonuses, and then I do have the Zenman compensator. Now, you can swap this out for something else of your personal preference, especially if you want to be suppressed. But this is the one I find works the best at controlling recoil. Overall, the BP50 is pretty solid. I just don't think it's probably one of the better options, even though it does have really good TTKs. But I do think the MCW is just slightly better in my personal opinion. I just find it a lot easier to use. Next up, we've got the new FENNEC-45 SMG. Now, this gun is pretty decent at close range. I'm not going to say it's the best gun at close range because it doesn't have like insanely fast TTKs. But what it does do is have a good time to kill, low recoil, and also the movement is ridiculously insane on this gun. Strafing is like ridiculous. Like, you're not going to be able to get hit. That's how good this gun is when it comes to strafing, and even with this build, it just makes it even better. So going over this build quickly, we've got the 40 round mags, largest mags available. The mag capacity on this gun is low, however the damage per mag is actually not too bad, so just keep that in mind. The Jack Cutthroat, which gives us insanely broken strafing speeds, by the way. You just need to have this on here. We're using the Razorhawk laser light. Again, we're going to get aim down sight speed, and we're going to get aim walking steadiness. We're getting a lot of good movement buffs here. It doesn't really help with that strafing, but it helps with everything else, right? So we're definitely going to get some decent movement stats here. Iron sights are pretty clean on this gun too, so it's probably one of the only SMGs you don't need an optic on. I do like the Lux heavy barrel. I think is the best at controlling recoil. It doesn't help too much with anything else, but it doesn't really need to be honest, especially if you're only going to use it for close range. If you want a more sniper support build, then you can try some of the other barrels out, but I do think this is the best one just overall. Then we are using the hand stop underbarrel. Again, you're going to get aim walking speed with this, and again giving you ridiculously fast strafing speeds. This strafes so fast. So I've taken this into the firing range just to show you how fast the strafing speed is on this gun in particular. It's actually insanely good. You pretty much feel like you're gliding across the screen. Like, this is really fast. It's almost the same as standard walking speed, which is actually ridiculous. I want to know what the actual numbers are on this, because it feels so broken. The last two choices are a bit more difficult to use, but you're going to get the bonus of having good movement speed and fast time to kills. And obviously the trade-off with this is going to be recoil. Unlike like the MCW and the BP50, where they're actually very easy to control, they also have the slower of the movement speeds because they are assault rifles. The FJX Horus got a massive buff to damage values across the board with the recent update, and with this build you get insanely good movement speeds, but the only issue is the recoil is a little bit difficult to manage. Now if you are at point blank range, you're not really going to notice it, and that is where I recommend using this type of gun in the first place. It is not a sniper support. This is an out and out TTK machine at close range. So what you want is the Ripper light stock to help with that aim walking speed, because you're going to be competing against things like the Superi-46, which has insanely good strafing speeds, as you've just seen. The MK3 reflector, or any optic you choose. I just think the iron sights on this gun are not great. The Kimura laser light, again, we need the movement speed bonuses as much as possible we can get to compete with some of the other guns on this list. 60 round drum mags, absolute must, because this has got a fast fire rate. And then the DR hand stop, again, for all the movement bonuses, as we mentioned previously. But this gun has one of the best TTKs in the game. Last but not least, we have the WSP Swarm. Now, the WSP Swarm has actually been a pretty good option for the most part, even into last season as well. And the reason why a lot of people are not using this is because like the damage per mag is not great, especially if you use the 50 round. I think you kind of have to use the 50 round, otherwise you can't compete with some of the movement based builds that we've mentioned previously. So that is a must on here. We're using the DR hand stop underbarrel grip. Once again, if you are struggling to control the recoil, then you can go for the Brune heavy support. But again, in terms of movement comparisons to the other guns on this list, we're trying to get max movement out of this gun. We're using the Kimura laser light once again, the optic of choice, whatever your personal preference is, like I said. And then we are using the Fortress heavy stock to get a bit of control in this gun, because it does have some pretty high recoil and we do need to try and manage it a little bit. So there we have it. Those are the top 5 close range guns inside Warzone right now. We'll be making a video on the long range weapons in just a minute. Thank you very much for watching.